He told her she was his future. He told her he had never felt a love like this before. He told her his marriage was already over, just paperwork and timing standing in the way. And when she placed his hand on her growing belly and whispered, "We're going to be a family," he smiled and said, "Forever." But forever lasted exactly 8 months. When 29-year-old Vanessa Cole met Daniel Harper at a real estate networking event, she had no idea she was stepping into a carefully constructed double life. Daniel was charming in a quiet, controlled way. He listened more than he spoke. He remembered small details. He sent thoughtful messages the next day. At 38, he seemed established, steady, and emotionally mature. Everything Vanessa thought she wanted. He told her he was separated. He said he and his wife had grown apart years ago. They were basically roommates. The divorce would be finalized soon, he assured her. He just didn't want it to be messy. Vanessa believed him. Friends later said she wasn't naive, she was hopeful. Daniel met her consistently. He spent nights at her apartment. He introduced her to a few colleagues who all seemed to know he was going through something. Everything felt legitimate. 3 months into the relationship, Vanessa found out she was pregnant. She was terrified at first. Daniel went quiet when she told him. Not angry, not excited, just still. He stared at the positive test in her hand longer than she expected. Then he hugged her tightly and said, "We'll figure this out." That night, he promised her everything. He said the baby was a sign, a new beginning. He said he would accelerate the divorce. He talked about moving in together. He even browsed baby cribs online with her, sending screenshots and asking which color she liked. Vanessa's doubts softened. But what Vanessa didn't know was that Daniel had never filed for divorce. In fact, just weeks before learning about the pregnancy, he had reconciled with his wife, Elise. After a brief separation caused by financial stress and infidelity rumors, Daniel convinced Elise that he was committed to repairing their marriage. He attended counseling. He posted smiling photos with her again. To outsiders, they looked stronger than ever. Daniel was living 2 realities, and both were closing in. By the time Vanessa was 5 months pregnant, she began noticing changes. Daniel canceled visits more often. He avoided being seen in public with her. He stopped talking about moving in together. When she brought up the divorce timeline, he deflected. "It's complicated," he'd say. "I'm handling it." At 7 months pregnant, Vanessa discovered the truth. A mutual acquaintance tagged Elise and Daniel in a photo celebrating their wedding anniversary, dated just weeks prior. The caption read, "Through every storm, we choose each other." Vanessa felt the ground disappear beneath her. She confronted Daniel that night. At first, he denied it. Then, he minimized it. Then, he blamed timing. He claimed he had been trying to end things gently with Elise. He insisted he still loved Vanessa. He said the baby changed everything. But Vanessa was done believing. She told him she would not be hidden. She would not raise their child in secrecy. If he didn't tell his wife the truth, she would. According to phone records later reviewed in court, Daniel called Vanessa 17 times that night. She didn't answer. Over the next week, Vanessa confided in friends that she was preparing to expose him. Not out of revenge, but out of protection. "My child deserves legitimacy," she told one friend. "I won't let him pretend we don't exist." Daniel, meanwhile, was unraveling. Financial records would later show he had recently increased his life insurance policy through his employer. Internet searches from his home computer included phrases like child support laws, custody rights, unmarried father, and chillingly, "How long after death does phone location stop updating?" On a warm Thursday evening, Daniel showed up at Vanessa's apartment unannounced. Security footage captured him entering the building at 8:12 p.m. He was carrying a small overnight bag. Vanessa let him in. Neighbors later said they heard raised voices around 9 p.m., followed by a loud thud. No one called police. At 11:47 p.m., Daniel was seen leaving alone. Vanessa didn't show up to her prenatal appointment the next morning. When her sister couldn't reach her, she drove to the apartment. The door was locked. Inside, she found Vanessa unresponsive in the bedroom. She was 8 months pregnant. Paramedics pronounced both her and the unborn baby dead at the scene. Authorities initially treated the case as suspicious, but not immediately a homicide. There were no signs of forced entry, no obvious weapon left behind. But inconsistencies began surfacing quickly. Vanessa's phone was missing. Her laptop had been wiped remotely. And Daniel's location data placed him at her apartment for nearly 4 hours that night. When questioned, Daniel claimed they had argued, but he left her, alive and emotional. He suggested she had been overwhelmed. He implied depression. But friends told investigators Vanessa had been excited about motherhood. She had just hosted a baby shower days earlier. Detectives obtained surveillance footage from nearby streets. It showed Daniel stopping at a dumpster 2 blocks away before heading home. Inside that dumpster, investigators recovered Vanessa's phone, smashed but salvageable. Data extraction revealed her final text draft unsent. "If you don't tell her, I will tomorrow." The autopsy concluded Vanessa died from manual strangulation. There were defensive wounds on her arms. The unborn baby, a boy, could not be saved. Daniel was arrested 2 weeks later at his office. During trial, prosecutors painted a portrait of a man obsessed with control. They argued he viewed Vanessa not as a partner, but as a liability. Her pregnancy threatened his restored marriage, his reputation, and his finances. Defense attorneys attempted to argue the altercation escalated accidentally. They claimed Daniel panicked. But the prosecution countered with digital evidence, searches about eliminating evidence, deleted call logs, and the deliberate disposal of her phone. Perhaps the most haunting moment in court came when Vanessa's mother read from her daughter's pregnancy journal. In one entry, Vanessa had written, "I don't know what the future holds, but I know this baby is already deeply loved. I hope his father chooses us." The jury deliberated for less than 6 hours. Daniel Harper was found guilty of first-degree murder and unlawful termination of a pregnancy. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Elise filed for divorce within days of the conviction. In interviews afterward, friends of Vanessa struggled to reconcile the Daniel they thought they knew with the man convicted in court. "He wasn't explosive," one colleague said. "He was calculated." And that, investigators believe, was the most dangerous part. This case wasn't fueled by rage alone. It was fueled by exposure, by the fear of consequences, by the unwillingness to let truth dismantle a carefully curated image Vanessa believed in forever. She believed in promises whispered in the quiet of night. She believed that love, once declared, carried responsibility. Daniel believed in preservation, of comfort, of reputation, of control. In the end, one belief cost 2 lives.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this.